What if your body heals the most when you do absolutely nothing? No effort, no technique, no control. Every night while you sleep, something precise begins to work. Cells repair, nerves recalibrate, systems reorganize, and it happens without your permission. You are not thinking, you are not trying. Yet restoration occurs. This alone raises a powerful question. If healing happens best when the mind is quiet, then what exactly is guiding it? Jacobo Grinberg believed this process was not random. He proposed that when awareness softens, the body reconnects with a deeper order that exists beneath everyday reality. An ancient order, older than medicine, older than language. During deep rest, perception withdraws from the surface and aligns with this hidden structure. In that state, the body does not struggle to repair damage. It simply returns to coherence, and what we call damage begins to dissolve. Few people know that Grinberg explored how subtle patterns, similar to sound but not heard by the ears, influence the nervous system during rest. Not sound as noise, but sound as information, as silent order. As a signal the body understands instantly. This is why effort-based healing often creates resistance, while healing during rest can feel effortless and sudden. The body listens more deeply when the mind is no longer interfering. In this video, you will discover what truly activates while you sleep, why awareness matters more than effort, and how an ancient sound-like resonance plays a role in reversing damage while the body rests. Stay until the end, because the final insight will change how you understand healing itself. Welcome to Awakened Synchronicity. If this perspective resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and continue this journey of awareness. Before we talk about the sound itself, we have to understand how ancient cultures related to sound in the first place. For them, sound was never just noise. It was never entertainment alone. It was a tool, a precise instrument, used to organize the body, the mind, and the space around a person. Long before modern science tried to measure frequencies, ancient civilizations were already observing how sound changed perception and restored inner balance. Jacobo Grinberg pointed out that many early cultures did not separate healing from awareness. Sound was used in rituals, not to distract the mind, but to align it. These sounds were often simple, repetitive, and slow. They were designed to quiet mental activity and bring attention into a coherent state. When attention became ordered, the body followed naturally. Healing was not forced. It emerged. In ancient temples and healing spaces, sound was treated almost like a language the nervous system could understand instantly, not spoken language, a deeper one. Vibrations were chosen carefully because they influenced breathing, heart rhythm, and internal tension. When the rhythm changed, the body reorganized. When the mind softened, the system returned to balance. Grinberg emphasized that these cultures were not interested in stimulating the senses. They wanted to reduce interference. Sound was used to slow thought, to stabilize perception, and to dissolve internal noise. In that silence created by sound, awareness expanded, and in that expanded awareness, the body regained order. What modern thinking often misses is that these ancient practices were not symbolic, they were functional. Sound was applied with intention, not belief. The goal was coherence. When coherence appeared, pain lessened, fatigue dissolved, and the body entered a state of restoration. Sound in this sense was not something you listened to. It was something you became aware through. Jacobo Grinberg began with a question that most people never ask. Not how healing works, but when it truly begins. He noticed that recovery often accelerates when the mind stops interfering, when the body is not pushed, when attention is no longer scattered. This led him to wonder why stillness seems to activate something deeper than any deliberate action, why wounds close faster during sleep, why clarity returns after silence, why rest reorganizes the nervous system without instruction. For Grinberg, this was not coincidence. It was evidence that healing follows laws that exist beneath conscious effort. He observed that when a person stops trying to heal, something else takes over. The tense muscles soften, breath deepens, awareness withdraws from surface thoughts and settles into a quieter layer of perception. In this state, the nervous system begins to behave differently. Signals slow down, noise reduces, the body stops reacting and starts listening. Grinberg believed that this listening was essential. Healing did not come from action, but from alignment with an underlying order that becomes accessible only when effort dissolves. This insight challenged a deeply ingrained belief. The belief that healing requires force, that progress depends on struggle. Grinberg saw the opposite. Effort tightens the system. Tension disrupts internal communication. When the body is forced, it resists. When it resists, repair is delayed. Healing does not respond to pressure. It responds to coherence. When parts of the system move in harmony, restoration occurs naturally. Coherence allows information to flow without obstruction. Effort fragments. Tension. One part of the mind pushes forward, while another holds back. This division creates internal noise. The nervous system becomes overstimulated. Instead of repairing, it protects. Instead of restoring, it braces. Grinberg emphasized that true healing requires the absence of internal conflict. When awareness becomes whole, the body follows. No command is needed. Order reappears on its own. During rest, the body enters this coherent state effortlessly. Muscles release their constant tension. The jaw softens. The shoulders drop. Breath slows and deepens without control. As oxygen flow stabilizes, the heart rhythm becomes more regular. Brain activity shifts away from rapid, fragmented patterns into slower, synchronized waves. These changes are not random. They signal that the system is moving from defense to restoration. In this receptive state, the nervous system opens, sensory input quiets, internal signals become clearer. The body no longer spends energy reacting to the environment. Instead, it reallocates resources inward. Repair mechanisms activate, immune responses adjust, cellular processes reorganize. Grinberg saw this as evidence that rest is not passive. It is a highly intelligent state of coordination. What fascinated him most was that this coordination seemed guided by something beyond chemistry. The body behaved as if it were responding to a pattern, a structure, a silent reference point that told it how to return to balance. This led Grinberg to reconsider the role of sound in healing. Not sound as vibration striking the ears, but sound as a carrier of information. He proposed that sound is better understood as a pattern the nervous system can recognize. Not all patterns are audible. Some are felt as rhythm, others as resonance. The body responds to these patterns instinctively, much like it responds to gravity without understanding it. Sound in this sense is not something added to the system. It is something that reveals the system's natural order. This is why certain tones, chants, or repetitive sounds have such a powerful effect, even when barely noticed. They do not stimulate the mind. They organize it. The nervous system senses the pattern and begins to mirror it. Breathing aligns. Heart rate synchronizes. Brain waves follow. The body entrains to the pattern without effort. Grinberg saw this as a form of communication, deeper than language. He was careful to clarify that the most effective sound is not loud or complex. It is subtle. Sometimes it is not even external. The ancient sound he referred to was often a state of attention rather than a physical noise. It emerged when awareness became steady and uninterrupted, almost like a hum beneath thought. Not imagined, but not heard either. A resonance felt throughout the system. This sound does not come from the outside. It appears when attention stops jumping from one object to another. When perception stabilizes, awareness begins to sense its own continuity. In that continuity, a quiet vibration becomes noticeable. Grinberg described it as the nervous system recognizing itself within the larger field of reality. The sound is not produced, It is revealed. Because it is subtle, most people overlook it. The modern mind searches for stimulation, not coherence, but when the body rests deeply and attention is no longer fragmented, this resonance becomes clear. It does not demand focus. It arises naturally, and when it does, the body responds immediately. Tension dissolves further. Breathing becomes effortless. The sense of separation between observer and body begins to fade. Grinberg believed this was the same principle ancient cultures intuitively understood. They did not try to control the sound. They allowed attention to fall into it. In doing so, they accessed a state where the nervous system aligned with a deeper pattern of order. Healing, in this context, was not an intervention. It was a return. What makes this sound powerful is not its frequency, but its relationship to awareness. It appears only when awareness is unified. When attention is divided, the sound disappears into noise. When attention becomes whole, the resonance returns. The body recognizes it instantly because it mirrors the body's original state of coherence. This is why healing accelerates during rest. Not because the body shuts down, but because awareness becomes less fragmented. In that openness, the ancient sound is no longer masked by mental activity. The nervous system detects the pattern and reorganizes itself around it. Damage does not need to be repaired piece by piece. Order replaces disorder, and what appeared broken begins to dissolve naturally. Grinberg did not see this as mystical. He saw it as precise. The body is not random. Awareness is not passive. When the conditions are right, restoration follows a clear logic. Stillness is not empty. It is structured, and within that structure, the ancient sound quietly guides the body back to balance. Jacobo Grinberg proposed that what we call reality is not made only of objects, cells, or physical structures. Behind everything we perceive, he described a deeper field that gives form to matter itself. He called this the synergic field. It is not something the body enters, it is something the body already exists within. This field holds the information that organizes reality, and matter appears as a result of how awareness interacts with it. When awareness is fragmented, reality appears fragmented. When awareness becomes ordered, the field reorganizes what we experience as the physical world, including the body. According to Grinberg, the body is not repaired from the outside in. It is shaped continuously by its relationship with this field. Cells, tissues, and systems respond to structure, not commands. When awareness is scattered, the connection to the synergic field weakens and disorder becomes visible as tension, imbalance, or damage. But when awareness stabilizes, the field responds immediately. Matter rearranges itself to match the new level of coherence. Healing in this sense is a shift in organization rather than an intervention. This is why the ancient sound works most effectively during rest. Rest is not only physical stillness, it is a reduction of internal resistance. During rest, the mind loosens its grip on control. The ego becomes quiet. There is less identification with thought, less effort to manage experience. In this state, awareness becomes smoother and more continuous. The nervous system is no longer overloaded with signals, it becomes receptive. When the body rests, it listens, not with the ears, but with the entire system. Subtle patterns that would normally be drowned out by mental noise become clear. The ancient sound, understood as a state of ordered attention, emerges naturally. There is no struggle to maintain it. It appears because nothing is interfering. And because the interference is gone, the synergic field responds faster. Grinberg emphasized that timing matters because awareness matters. During waking hours, attention is pulled outward. Thoughts compete. Identity reinforces itself. The body remains partially defensive. At night, or during deep rest, this defensive posture relaxes. Awareness turns inward. The connection with the field strengthens. This is why deep restoration often happens without conscious participation. The system is finally aligned. What occurs next is often misunderstood. The body does not fix itself in the way a machine is repaired. There is no isolated process targeting damage. Instead, the entire structure reorganizes. Grinberg made a clear distinction between repair and reordering. Repair implies that something is broken and must be corrected, piece by piece. Reordering implies that nothing is fundamentally wrong. The system has simply lost coherence. When coherence returns, damage dissolves as a consequence. Inflammation reduces, pain lessens, function improves, not because a specific mechanism was activated, but because the overall structure returned to its natural configuration. The body remembers its original order when awareness stops distorting it. Healing is not added. It is revealed. This idea challenges how modern science approaches healing. Science searches for causes in chemistry, genes, and mechanisms. It looks for what to fix and how to manipulate it. Grinberg looked elsewhere. He looked at perception. He asked how awareness shapes the structure of experience itself. Both approaches observe the same reality, but through different lenses. One measures effects. The other examines the conditions that give rise to those effects. Modern science struggles with this concept because the synergic field cannot be isolated. It cannot be measured as an object. It responds to perception, not instruments. This does not make it unreal. It makes it subtle. Just as gravity was once invisible before it was understood, the synergic field operates quietly beneath perception, shaping matter without announcing itself. Grinberg did not reject science. He saw its limits. Chemical explanations describe what happens after the fact. Structural explanations reveal why it happens in the first place. Healing chemicals activate because order has returned. Cells behave differently because the field has reorganized. The cause is not the molecule. The cause is coherence. This brings attention to the role of the observer during rest and sleep. Even when the body is asleep, awareness does not disappear. Perception changes form, but it remains present. The observer is still there, witnessing without thought. In this state, awareness is often at its most unified. There is no commentary, no effort, no identity to maintain. Grinberg believed this is why nighttime healing can be so powerful. The observer is calm, attention is not fragmented. The synergic field encounters little resistance. The body responds accordingly. Restoration accelerates not because the body is unconscious, but because awareness is no longer divided. Dreamless sleep, deep rest, and moments between thoughts create ideal conditions. The observer does not intervene, it does not direct, it simply exists. And in that existence, order emerges. The body reorganizes itself around the coherence of awareness. This is not imagination. It is structure responding to structure. The ancient sound becomes most noticeable in these moments, not as a noise, but as a sense of continuity, a subtle resonance that feels familiar. It does not demand attention, it supports it. The observer senses alignment rather than effort. The body follows naturally. Grinberg emphasized that awareness is always shaping reality, whether consciously or not. During waking hours, this shaping is chaotic. During rest, it becomes precise. Healing is faster because distortion is lower. The observer is still present, but silent. And in that silence, the synergic field does what it has always done. It restores order. Healing is often misunderstood as a struggle. We think it requires effort, routines, or interventions. We believe that the body must be pushed, controlled, or guided in order to repair itself. Jacobo Grinberg taught something very different. He observed that the deepest restoration does not come from force. It comes from allowing. Healing is not a battle, it is a return. When the mind quiets, when attention softens, the body naturally moves back into balance. The nervous system, the cells, the very structure of the body responds not because of action, but because of alignment. This is the essence of the ancient sound. It is not something you perform, it is something you recognize. It is the subtle pattern that emerges when awareness becomes whole. It is a return to coherence. When the body rests, the mind often follows a different rhythm than it experiences during waking hours. Thoughts slow, the ego softens, mental resistance diminishes. This creates the perfect conditions for the ancient sound to arise. It is not a sound in the traditional sense, it is a resonance of order. It communicates directly with the nervous system and the deeper structure of the body. It does not fight damage. It does not push. It simply restores the natural pattern that was already present before tension, injury, or disorder appeared. When awareness aligns, the synergic field responds. The body reorganizes. What was fragmented becomes whole again. Healing is not created. It is revealed. This process shows us that restoration is a state of harmony, not effort. The body does not need constant intervention to repair itself. The body is intelligent. It knows how to restore balance when given the right conditions. The ancient sound is simply a guide, a signal, a doorway back to that natural coherence that exists beneath surface chaos. And the most profound part of this is that anyone can access it. It does not require special tools, complex techniques, or extraordinary skills. It only requires softening attention, allowing the body to rest fully, and trusting the intelligence of awareness. By understanding this, we can shift the way we think about healing and wellness. We no longer see it as a task to accomplish. We see it as a state to inhabit. Every moment of stillness, every breath taken with calm attention, every period of true rest becomes an opportunity for the body to restore itself naturally. The ancient sound is a bridge between awareness and physical coherence, between rest and rejuvenation. It teaches us that reality itself is not fixed by force, but responds beautifully to order and attention. If you found this perspective insightful and want to explore more ways to awaken your awareness, restore balance, and experience life through the lens of consciousness, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you stay connected to the teachings of Jacobo Grinberg and the principles of awakened synchronicity, where every moment of stillness can become a doorway to deeper healing, understanding, and inner harmony.